thinking a lot about things that are beyond our control, the unknown, the not knowing, the deepest thing that I know to be true, our need to know ourselves. And
so as a creative, as an artist, something I'm always, or have always been intrigued about is, you know, where does that spark come from? Where does that moment come from just before you start something? And, you know, it's almost like the work that you're about to create always existed, already existed. And there's this spark or this moment or this space where you get to pull it into existence. And so I was really curious about that, and I wanted to kind of reflect the lens outward and put a mirror out there and ask two artist friends, what it was about that moment and almost that suspense about that moment, and kind of just to try and articulate what it felt like or what it feels like or what it looks like.
There's a suspense when I'm making that first mark, and it happens every single time, no matter how many times I
So it's funny, I very recently brought my YouTube back to life, and I did that at the beginning of this year, and I collaborated with a friend, Casey Neistat, and he directed a video, and that kind of brought my YouTube back to life. I didn't realise, I think I completely forgot, but I had a YouTube channel. I didn't know I had one because I made one 10 plus years ago when I lived in Japan, and I was a VJ, a visual jockey, and then I used YouTube just to put up clips or videos of shows that happened. You know, it wasn't about production, it wasn't about capturing something specific. You know, back then it was like, oh, I did a show, someone had a clip of it, let's pull it up. So right now, a thing about my work as an artist is I'm a huge advocate of doing work live and exposing the process and exposing the work as it happens. Not because I'm a performer, but I think that there's two benefits from that, two of many benefits from that. And one of those benefits is, if I'm working live and people are watching me, I don't have time to think, I don't have time to plan, I don't have time to hesitate, I don't have time to be insecure, I don't have time to be anyone else but myself. So it keeps me honest. The other side of it is that when you expose the process, you don't give any of the magic away, but you inspire people and you connect with people because you are creating the work as an experience with them. And so I'm a huge advocate in showing that process as much as possible. And what's the best way to do that than video? And I've not found a great way of doing this yet, because in a way I'm new to YouTube basically, and I'm new to video, and I'm new to documenting in this way. But I see that there is something really powerful about doing it. So I'm willing to put myself in a vulnerable situation and be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know if I dedicate the next year or the next 2 years or the next 3 years or the next 5 years of my life and show what I'm doing in video, then maybe there's something really profoundly about myself that I can share with you that can inspire other people.
Oh yeah, welcome to my home. I feel like this is like MTV Cribs.
Yes.
We gotta do like But yeah, this is the foyer. Yes. This is my little home. Whoa. I drew all over it.
So now I've watched my film many times, and there's not a shot that stands out to me that's like, oh, I love that shot. It's like the other way around now. And I think maybe this is that rabbit hole that you can go down as a filmmaker, that I'm getting an initial glimpse of it. Now you watch your stuff and you're like, I could have shot it like this, or I should have done this, or maybe I could have used that. So now that I'm watching it, it's almost like the opposite, where I wish I could go out and shoot it again. But then I would probably want to shoot it again and again and again and again, and that's...
Do you feel that way about your drawings too? Like, is that creative, like, vulnerability just kind of, like, transcend and evolve?
So with my drawing, I'm very comfortable with a line. I can draw a line, I know when to start, I know when to finish, because I feel it. I've trained that gut feeling, and I'm not trying to be anyone else in a sense. Like, I know who I am when I'm drawing. When I'm working with video, I've not trained that gut feeling to, okay, this is when to start, this is when to stop, this is where to come from, because I've not had the practice, and you can't be good at anything. Don't believe what anyone tells you, but you will never ever be good at anything without practice and understanding your practice and process. and I'm not there yet, so I've got a really long way to go. And it's also interesting when you do start to film things and you start to edit things, you actually really, for the first time, start to watch things. You know, we've been watching TV forever. We've been watching movies, cartoons, TV shows, but I never before noticed where the camera was, and I never noticed before that the camera didn't actually move that much, and I didn't know this, you know, the space between people, and I just didn't see any of that before, and now I feel like someone opened a window and the air, you know, gushed in, and I'm slowly starting to see these things for the first time. I didn't draw for a really long time because I believed that there were so many people out there that could do it better than me, and that would and are and could be way more successful than me. And that stopped me from drawing for a really long time until I realized, like, wait, like, it's a little bit of a cliche, but cliches are cliches because they're true most often. I realized, like, wow, no one can do me, and no one can draw like me, and no one can be me. And if I can only draw this type of line, and I draw that enough, and I draw it confidently, and I draw it without hesitation, and I draw it without trying to be anyone else, that line will be me. And I'm curious to see if that will be the same with video, and that will be the same with editing, and that will be the same with movie making. Whereas if you approach it with your true self, it doesn't matter what medium it is. It's going to work for you, and your voice and your identity will come out from that. And so there's a lot out there that people can teach me, but there's a lot out there that we can teach each other. So, you know, maybe some advice that I give generally is that don't wait for opportunities, create your own opportunities, and do that by using what you have access to. And the thing about this is that all these movies are made on a mobile phone. We all have access to those. So you can stop playing the if game. You know, if I had a really nice camera, if I had this money, if I had all these people to work with, I could do this, I could do that. Well, what do you have? And then use that to create your own opportunities and make things and share them, and make them and share them. And that's, I think, a great starting point for anyone.